All right, welcome back to Draws and Fades, episode 91, preview of the Valspar Championship at Innisbrook on the Copperhead course outside of Tampa, Florida. I'm your host, Owen Vrabel, joined by my co-host, Matthew Miller.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back.
And producer, Nick Boss.
What's going on, fellas? Happy Victory Tuesday to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Victory Tuesday for me. Cam Smith gets it done at the Players, which is, we'll get into it. It was just a ridiculous circumstance that it finished on Monday, tons of delays over the weekend. So we will recap that. And before we get into it, we are partnered up with Rotoballer this year. So make sure to win big in 2022 with rotoballer.com's PGA Premium Pass. Are you ready to dominate? Rotoballer's premium DFS package includes exclusive tools, DFS cheat sheets, research stations, our lineup optimizer, and so much more to help you win big. For a limited time, get your PGA Premium Pass for 50% off. Use promo code DNF10 for another 10% discount. Just visit rotoballer.com/radio. Sign up today and start rotoballing like a boss. And if you were rotoballing like a boss last week, you would have been listening to Draws and Fades, and I was all over Cam Smith last week. So we will recap the Players, but we'll be moving on to the Valspar this week, which is at the Copperhead course at Innisbrook. So we'll give you our strategy for this week for betting one and done and outright bets. We'll be using FanDuel. Full field, pretty solid field for the Valspar, which is kind of surprising after the Players being last week. But we'll give you our outrights, our top 10s and 20s, and our one and done picks. And if you make it to the end of the episode, we're going to give you a little preview of our college basketball March Madness brackets, Final Four predictions, a few upset picks. I'm sure none of you guys will care about it, but we will get into that later. Follow us on Twitter at Owen_Vrabel, at MattyMills85, and at Draws_N_Fades. Please show us the love on Apple and Spotify. If you guys have hit any of the winners over the past month, we have hit on Scotty Scheffler at the Waste Management, and now most recently Cam Smith at the Players. So welcome back, boys. Episode 91, and that was a roller coaster of a week. I mean, Monday finish, that was about as stressful as it gets for me. I didn't know what to expect going into Monday. Arnavan Lahiri was the leader. Obviously, the third round also finished on Monday. The second round didn't even finish until Sunday. Thursday and Friday were like almost complete washes. The guys who went off early Thursday ended up getting the better of the draw. It was like, I think 44 of the 70 guys who made the cut teed off early on Thursday.
Yeah, what do you think about that? I mean, I guess they had to get the tournament in, but it seemed like it was pretty ridiculous making them play out there Saturday. They were just kind of holding on for dear life.
Yeah. No, yeah, that pretty brutal for the guys that had the late tee times on Thursday that didn't play their second rounds until, I guess, Saturday. I mean, and they did get the shittiest of the conditions. Like they were, and that was the whole thing. It was that they were going to get the shitty conditions basically no matter what, because they were going to finish their first round and then have to go right back out for their second round. Also, my mind is like brainwashed from the tournament. Like I don't even remember how it all went down. Like there were so many stoppages.
Yeah, I don't really remember between Thursday and Friday, but I know a majority of my guys got absolutely screwed playing Saturday to the point where I just decided to turn it off and not even look at the leaderboard because everyone was going backwards. Yeah. Xander went from T9 to T90th in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I made that decision early when that Brooks group stepped onto the tee at 17, like first thing in the morning, and all three of them put the ball in the water, and I said, this is not going to go well.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, because a lot of those guys were in it after the first day, before they had to stop. I mean, they were all with pretty good scores, Brooks, Xander, and Scheffler, actually.
Mm-hmm. It was really Friday that screwed him over because there was such a long delay Friday that at a certain point you thought that the advantage was going to be the other way because you thought that the guys who teed off early on Thursday were going to have to play Saturday in the horrible conditions with the winds, but it ended up being the opposite. So the guys that teed off early Thursday had to play like a few holes Saturday afternoon, essentially. And then they finished their second round on Sunday.
Yeah. Did you have any issue? I mean, I guess it worked out for you, but did you see any
issues? I had zero issues.
Yeah. Well, your boy, Kevin Kisner, said that it was taking away from the integrity of the tournament. That's the reason I bring it up.
Yeah. I mean, I think they got put in a pretty shitty spot. Like there was really nothing there was never going to be a fair way to do it because you can't control the weather. You have a big field of over 150 guys. Like there's going to be half of them are going to get different conditions. So I don't think they could have done it too much differently. Like they could have tried to finish on Tuesday, I guess. But even like then you start really getting into potential even worse situations if they get bad weather on Tuesday too. And then, I mean, the Valspar is this week. We're recording on a Tuesday night. Tournament starts on Thursday morning, which we'll get into too. I'm surprised that so many guys that played in the Players are actually still committed to play this week.
Yeah, it's wild. It's I think they were put in a tough spot. I mean, the grounds crew did a pretty good job to keep it, playable. Obviously those guys just got screwed, but I think that's one of the worst examples of being on like the wrong side of the draw that I can remember recently.
Yeah, because also it wasn't even just the fact that like 60%, 65% of the guys who made the cut teed off early Thursday. It was also like there wasn't a guy who had a late Thursday tee time that was even inside the top 10 going into the third round.
Yeah, it was like JT and Berger did an amazing job just to kind of hang in there.
Right.
But the thing that sucked too is when they came out on, I guess it was Sunday to finish up the round. It was nice and soft for them too, so it was like good scoring conditions back for. I guess it was cold, but it played.
Played pretty nice.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So honestly, I was pretty disinterested from all the delays Thursday, Friday into basically Monday because I didn't know what the hell the situation was going to be. The cut didn't happen until Sunday, like early or noon-ish, and then the third round finishes Monday. I didn't know where any of my guys are going to be. I was happy that 4 of them did get the right side of the draw, and then Cam Smith and Burns made some moves early Monday, and I felt like I had a chance going into the final round. But I will say that I was fully interested because I had 2 guys that were in the second to last group going into the final round. And Cam Smith was lights out to start the fourth round. 5 birdies and 6 holes, 5 1-putts. Was just perfect on the greens to start his round. And then just when you start to get a little bit of like, oh, maybe this will be like a stress-free winner. No, that's not how it works. 3 bogeys in a row after that. And then all of the bigger names were starting to come back into the mix. Like Hovland and Berger, who were playing together, both were on birdie streaks going into the 12th hole that they both botched. I think if they didn't do that, Smith would have continued to feel more pressure because he did have those birdieable holes left. But he was starting to see like the bigger names kind of creep on the list. He was battling essentially with Lahiri, and he was playing with Paul Casey, who was also playing well. But other than that, there wasn't really a huge threat. I guess Russell Knox played good early on the 4th round.
Keegan was coming.
That's when I started getting worried when Hovland and Berger got back into the mix.
Yeah, they both played really well. It was crazy because like you said, I mean, Cam started off really good, and then I feel like it went in waves. Like Berger and Hovland played really well at the same time, and that's when Cam started going backwards, and that's when Lahiri hit like that brutal shot on the par 3 where he went way left, had to take a drop, made double, and it was almost felt like at that point he was done. But he actually, to his credit, like fought back after that. But then it felt like everyone was back into it, and then Berger and Hovland didn't take advantage of 12, like you said. Berger made a couple more bogeys, and then Cam started to get back heated up.
Yeah,
and
he made 3 birdies.
Separation. Then it was like a 3-horse race. I guess 4 because it was Casey, Lahiri,
Keegan,
Cam, and Keegan.
And then Keegan out of nowhere, they weren't showing any of his shots, and then he was -10. And I'm like,
yeah, I guess it was tough to try to show everyone's shots, but they did not do a very good job of that. And then they would like randomly show like Rahm and Rory, who, I mean, no offense to them, but like we don't care, dude. They're like over par.
Right. So, and then just to get into the more drama, obviously Keegan is at -11, pretty much in the mix still. He 3-putts. Well, he's at -12. He 3-putted 17, and then put one in the water on 18 with his second shot. So he kind of ejected himself, full Keegan style. And then Cam Smith put 2 back-to-back in the woods on 15 and 16, and miraculously saved par. And Paul Casey gets screwed on 16 with a ball mark in the fairway. I felt pretty bad. I mean, obviously I was rooting for Cam Smith, but you don't want to really win on like I don't think Paul Casey was going to win anyway, but he would have certainly had a better chance if he was
I
able
would
to
definitely
go
take a
for
win
green.
on that. So.
What?
I would definitely take a win on that.
Yeah,
You said you don't want to win that way. Take him out, you can get him.
Yeah, no, yeah, well, yeah. And then Cam Smith accidentally hits one to like 8 feet on 17, aiming for the middle of the green, and then puts one
right at the stick.
Yeah. Makes that, and then pulls driver on 18 like an imbecile, puts it in the woods, and then puts his second shot in the water. Like, I don't understand that at all. He ended up bogeying because he had a great fourth shot off his drop, but he literally could have gone to that hole thinking all I need to do is bogey, and he played it like he needed to. He played it like he needed to birdie pulling driver. So crazy. Then Lahiri, needed birdie.
It's kind of funny because, like you said, the last 2 times he hit driver was into the woods. So, like, the idea to pull it on 18, like, why? It's not like you were crushing it all day.
I was thinking it differently. I was thinking he was going to go left into the water off the tee. So I was a little bit thankful he went right, but yeah, just horrible decision making.
Yeah, you almost got him to go left because he would have at least saved himself a shot to put it in the water.
Yeah, so Cam won me a bunch of money and put me inside the top 100 in the race for the Mayo Cup and the one and done competition. So,
well, on my positives, I did move up in the Mayo Cup. I'm creeping up there inside 2,400.
Good job, guys. Well done.
Not a sprint.
Yeah. So back-to-back players wins for me with JT and now Cam. So I'm pretty excited about that. And now we're on to the Valspar, which I hit Sam Burns at last year at 70-1. Was his first win and kind of got the monkey off his back. And like I said, we have a pretty good field this week. And it is a course I think kind of gets underappreciated because of the time of year that it's played. It's been in March since like 2007. So it's kind of, now that the Players is in March, it's now sandwiched in between the Players and the Masters. Nonetheless, Matt, we're at a cool course at Innisbrook at their Copperhead course. So let us know what we're working with this week, and I'm getting to the field.
Yeah, Innisbrook Country Club, par 71, 7,320 yards. Kind of a little bit of a different par 71. There's still 4 par 5s. 9 par 4s and 5 par 3s this week. So you got that extra par 3 in the mix. The par 3s play pretty tough. This course in general plays pretty tough, but the par 3s are all pretty tough. You're going to be lucky to be walking away with par on those. It's going to be a good score. 9 par 4s, 5 of them are between 400 and 450 yards. There's a lot of forced layups off the tees, tree line fairways. It's a tough course. You're going to really want to take advantage of the par 5s if you want to win this week. So that's kind of where you're going to be looking at your scoring. We have Bermuda overseeded greens, same as we saw last week at the Players. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a challenging course. You're going to want to hit fairways or at least stay out of trouble. You could get away with getting it into the rough as long as you're not, completely blocking yourself out. A lot of positioning off the tee, and then it's going to take a complete game. You want to make your pars on a majority of holes and you'll walk away happy, and then take advantage of those par 5s. Like I said, scoring, the winners have typically been, kind of around 10 under. Last year, Sam Burns was a little bit better than that. And I think kind of with the rain last week, maybe we'll see a little bit better than 10 under win this week, but it is going to be a difficult course. It's by no means, a lot of birdies out there. So it's going to be a grind for these guys. We'll see kind of who could do it after last week. Like you mentioned, these guys went until Monday, and a lot of them dealt with tough conditions last week. So we'll see kind of who's there mentally, especially with the Masters around the corner, to kind of grind this one out. But I don't know if you were looking at anything else this week.
Yeah, I mean, well, I definitely think it, like last year, was definitely a little softer conditions too. I think that's why Burns was able to take advantage. He did win by 3 at 17 under, so it's not like the whole field was kind of tearing this place down. I think it is going to be definitely grind it out, make the birdies when you can, and just don't make a ton of mistakes. It's not like your typical Florida course. It's not like there's a ton of water. It's more like it'll just eat you up piece by piece, and you can go on a streak of making bogeys instead of potentially putting up a big number. But I do like it for not necessarily like the long hitters. It's more of like a shot maker's course. You don't have to be super long off the tee. You can kind of be strategic with your tee shots tough to hit fairways here. So it's not even necessarily about if you're into fairway or not. It's more or less like, do you have a good position into the green? So yeah, it's going to take a pretty full game. I mean, you're going to have to play well around the green as well. And then the guys who have succeeded here had really good weeks putting. So Sam Burns, I think, gained something ridiculous, like 9 strokes putting last year in his route to victory. So you're going to have to make putts. And I think the long iron to mid iron players who are hot this week will have the best shot. It is a weird week to handicap coming off the players in a event that finished Monday night. There were some big names who are here that didn't make the cut. We'll see if they're feeling a little bit more fresh. But I also wouldn't be surprised if we see some late WDs this week. So if you're feeling confident about someone that's further down the board, I'd suggest kind of getting it in early, and because the numbers could change depending on some of these bigger names drop out. But yeah, typical week for me, looking for approach guys that can get hot with the putter. And I think familiarity with this course will help too. We've seen some more veteran guys win here. Paul Casey, funny enough, obviously a 2-time champion. I think it's his. Is it the only place he's won on the PGA Tour?
He's won at Pebble Beach, I believe.
Okay. But as you know, Paul Casey, notorious for winning a ton of golf tournaments. Obviously a great golfer, finishes inside the top 10 plenty. And we have seen some other relatively big names win here too. Jordan Spieth in 2015. Patrick Cantlay as a runner-up. Tiger and Patrick Reed have runners-up. Luke Donald, back when he was at the top of his game, won in 2012. You also notice, not a ton of like long hitters. Sam Burns can get it out there, but by no means is that the only good aspect of his game. Obviously, the putter worked well for him last year. So this week could be anyone's week. I wouldn't be scared of taking some longer shots this week as well, especially, like I said, coming off the players where it's tough to gauge where these top name guys are at mentally coming off last week. So that being said, we do have a good field as of right now. So Justin Thomas, Victor Hovland, and Colin Morikawa are pretty much your co-favorites at the moment at 11 and 12 to 1. And then we got Dustin Johnson at 15 to 1, Sam Burns and Xander Schauffele at 21. And then Oosthuizen, Tyrrell Hatton, Matt Fitzpatrick all at 24. So we'll kind of start with those top 9 guys and move on from there. With the odds, because there are some of these bigger name guys here, the odds kind of quickly get into some pretty juicy territories. But what do you think about taking any of these guys in the top 9?
Yeah, I'm gonna take Tyrrell Hatton. I was not paying attention to you while you're going through the names there. I was looking at Paul Casey wins, and I was wrong. He lost in the playoff at Pebble Beach, but he did win a third tournament at the Houston Open. But
fun Paul Casey fact of the day.
I'm going to take Tyrrell Hatton this week. Haven't taken him in a while, but he's hot right now. Played really well with Arnold Palmer. Played well last week as well. It's very entertaining out there. I don't know if you saw that clip.
That was great.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look him up. He's constant entertainment. But he played really well over in the Middle East as well to start 2022 in that swing. He hasn't had a finish outside the top 16 since November, so he's playing well. He's putting really well, like you said. I mean, you need to putt well to win at this course, at least historically. That's kind of what winners have done. He's been really good on those par 4s between 400 and 450. And that's where 5 of them land this week. And he's kind of one of those guys that can win these tough events, especially down here in Florida. We saw him win the Arnold Palmer a few years ago. So I think that he's very much in play this week. And I'm going to kind of ride that hot streak for him.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, he has played really well. He ended up finishing like 13th last week, but could have easily finished inside the top 10. He does seem to like Florida golf. I do like Tyrrell Hatton. I'm kind of surprised. It's like they're not – I guess just because he's been so consistent, he's at this 24 number without having really won 2-2 recently. But I like that better than Oosthuizen and Fitzpatrick, for instance, at the same number. And then I didn't really – the only person I would consider in this range would be Burns, just kind of riding my guy and hoping to be on his next win again, because I have been continuously taking it, but I think it's a little bit short of a number just because he is the defending champion. Has played well here and played well in Florida and played pretty well last week until really the final round where he kind of lost it a bit and put one in the water on 17 to blow the top 20 for me. But I might look out for a live number on Burns if he gets off to a little bit of a slow start and hope that he can, because I know he can get hot and he obviously likes it here. And I think motivation wise, him, probably Haddon, Fitzpatrick, probably most motivated to play well this week. I think especially Hovland coming off and JT, grinding through Monday. I think they'll probably be a little bit mentally exhausted coming in this week. I don't think it's worth taking them at that low of a number.
I wonder if we're going to see DJ withdraw. Like, I wonder if the way he closed last weekend, like, was enough for him to just be like, I'm good. I'm ready to
I
go.
kind of think it might be the opposite, though. I feel like
he might want last round there. It's like he's going to play match play.
Well, he tied the course record at Sawgrass.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be the opposite. I think he's going to want, because he hasn't played good. I think he's going to want to see if he's like can kind of continue that good golf, and if he is, he'll probably win this week.
Maybe. I think, and we kind of talked about this before. Brooks kind of seems like a weird spot for him because he historically has liked to play the week before a major. And if so, that would be a lot of golf consecutively leading up to the Masters for him, because it would be 4 in a row, and then he had a week off at the Arnold Palmer, but he played the week before as well. Kind of seems like 5 out of 6 is a lot going into kind of the big one. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, Xander also missed the cut, like you said, played pretty poorly once the conditions got bad on Saturday. So he's at 21. I mean, it's nice, I guess, to consistently see Xander above 20 now in terms of bettability. But, yeah, didn't really love any of these guys inside the top 10. And I may look for a live option on one of them if I think that they can make a run back. But I don't know. I don't know what their motivation will be like this week. So I think we kind of jumped down to the next tier here where we got Shane Lowry. As you mentioned, Brooks Koepka's here. They're both at 29-1. And then Abe Answer at 34. Jason Kokrak is at 36-1. Jason Day, Tommy Fleetwood, Christian Bezainhout, Keegan Bradley, Bubba Watson, all at 46. And then Gary Woodland and Adam Hadron at 55. Again, we're on FanDuel. I think the odds will probably be fluctuating throughout this week. I'm still assuming we're going to get some withdrawals this week. Maybe I'm completely off there, but we'll see. So I thought this started to get a little bit more interesting after the top 9 guys. So are you taking anyone under 55-1, man? I'm
going to take Abe.
Yeah.
Probably not a surprise. Are you on him?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, he's played well here. This kind of seems like the type of course that's, suits him well.
Right up his alley.
Very accurate off the tee. So he should be in good position there. And we finally saw some out of Abe last week. He played really well. He was in the mix for, pretty much all the week. He didn't play great in the final round, but he hung around. I saw enough out of him to feel confident again in his game. So I'm happy with where he's at. I think this is a good spot for him. He's kind of in that next tier down, but like you said, who knows about what's going to happen with the top guys. So I think you're getting a pretty good number on him at 34-1, and I am on board.
Yeah, me too. I mean, yeah, he played poorly Monday in the 3rd round. Like, he finished poorly, dropped a bunch of shots. He was finished, I think, at -3 through 3 rounds, and then had basically played his way out of the tournament at that point. But up until then, I thought he was pretty live. He was kind of hanging around that -4, -5 number for a little while there. I do like it. I think this course suits him well. We've seen other courses where you don't need to be long and kind of need to be accurate off the tee suit his game well. A la like Harbor Town, which I think is a decent comparison to this place. And we've seen guys that don't have to be long off the tee play well here, like Jordan Spieth, Charles Schwartzel, Adam Hadwin. Guys that are capable of making those mid-range iron shots, and then obviously we need a hot week with the putter with Abe. But yeah, last week showed me enough. He gained in all major statistical categories, nothing spectacular, although he did gain almost 3 strokes on approach, which I think is nice coming into this week. It seems like his irons have started to get back into gear a little bit. And
they're big, Augusta around the corner.
Finished 5th here last year. Yeah, let's get hot at the right time.
I want to see him back in that final group.
All right, so we're both on the same page there. I'm also going to be taking Jason Kokrak this week, which
Saudi golf, Jason Kokrak.
I think it's more for me. Like he definitely likes this course. It's interesting because he is one of the guys who is longer off the tee. And strangely enough, you mentioned that Paul Casey won the Houston Open. That's also an event that Jason Kokrak has won. So could be a little bit of a correlation there. But 3 consecutive top 13 performances at the Valspar. Also had a 7th place back in 2015, a 14th in 2014. He just really likes it here, and he did play. He hasn't missed a cut since the Shriners back in October, so he's played pretty consistent golf. Did win the Houston Open in November. Hasn't really been able to string 4 rounds together in a little while, but the finishes have been pretty, above average. 17th at Sony Open, 26th at Genesis, 26th at Arnold Palmer. And I think all things considered, he was pretty far out of it at the Players. I don't think he was playing as stressful of golf as some of the guys near the top. So I like Kokrak a lot this week, 34-1, kind of starting my card in this middle tier and going from there. I think that's kind of the way to go this week, unless one of these big dogs decides he wants to win the Valspar and comes out highly motivated this week playing good golf. But I think these are kind of where the good numbers start.
Yeah, I don't hate that. Kokrak was, last year he kind of proved that he's a winner. He's won a few times in the last, year and a half, and I think it's a pretty good number for him. I guess he's just not like overly popular, but I feel like for the amount that he wins more than some of the guys that are below him on the odds list.
Yeah, oh, certainly. More than Oosthuizen, more than Schauffele.
Fitzpatrick, for sure.
More than Fitzpatrick, for sure.
And for whatever reason, man, guys love betting Matt Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, they do. Not us, but people do. So, yeah, I do like Kokrak. And I actually thought his win at the Houston Open was farther back than I thought, but it was in November.
Yeah, it did feel farther than that.
So, yeah, I like Kokrak a lot this week. You taking anyone else under 55? I think a couple other interesting names here. Fleetwood keeps sliding down. He played decently last week.
Yeah, he did. It was as good as I've seen him recently.
Keegan also played decently last week. He played more than decently. He was in the hunt on Sunday or Monday.
Yeah, I think those two, Bezadenhout's somewhat interesting. And I actually think it's weird because you don't consider it a Bubba track because he hasn't won here, but he's had really good results here. So I don't think that Bubba at 46 on a course where he's played really good at is a bad number. I'm probably not going to take it, but I don't think that's a bad idea.
Yeah, actually, I think he might be my first add to my finishing position card. I think I'm going to.
Yeah, I like that play actually.
I think I'm going to take him for a top 20. He, back-to-back times here, 4th in 2019, 13th in 2021, and maybe it's just not considered a Bubba track because he hasn't played that much. He's a veteran at this point. He's only played this event 3 times, so he started to add it to his schedule, and he's played well here. And it makes sense. It is like a shot maker's course. Bubba can work the ball in both directions. It doesn't really set up better for someone who fades the ball necessarily or draws the ball, and he's the guy that's aiming 50 yards right of his target and playing a heavy fade or vice versa. So I think Bubba actually is a pretty good look. I'll probably take him first round leader this week as well. I think he also missed the cut. He was in the wrong side of the draw last week after playing pretty decently on Friday and kind of got screwed. So I think Bubba's a decent look this week.
Yeah, I like that. I'll get on board a top 20 with you there.
Yeah, probably not going to be great value, but we could use, maybe a little guaranteed top 20. Yeah,
building bankroll.
Yeah, I also may consider Keegan first round leader as well. So keep those in mind. And obviously Adam Hadwin and Gary Woodland, I think, are both going to be relatively popular this week as well, just because they both are former champions. Hadwin 2017, Woodland 2011, and we've seen Gary kind of get his form back a little bit recently. So hopefully he continues that because I do love betting Gary, just not going to be this week.
I agree. Yeah. We saw, him look pretty good at the API a few weeks ago, but yeah, I'm not on board him this week. But yeah.
So like I said, the odds get juicy pretty quickly. We're at Kevin Kisner at 65-1 on FanDuel Sportsbook. Then Alex Noren, Russell Knox, Brian Harmon, Webb Simpson are all at 70-1. Harold Varner, who also played well last week, Aaron Wise, Cameron Tringale, Mackenzie Hughes, all at 75. And then we're at 90 and above into, the deep bombs that I think could be live this week. But any guys, I guess, under 90 before we get into some deep long shots, Matt, that you're looking to take this week?
I am going to get back on Russell Knox.
Okay.
70-1. Played well last week, finished 8th. And, this course, I talk about, a lot of approach is going to be key. Approach is key every week, but look at what Knox has done recently. third in the field in ball striking last 24 rounds, second in approach, 18th off the tee. So he's been pretty good there, tee to green. He's going to need to get some putts to fall, but I do like Knox. I feel like he's like a veteran guy. This is kind of a tougher course is where I like him. So I'm going to take a shot at him. I think it's a pretty good value number there.
Yeah, I like that, actually. I think I'm going to jump on board with you with Russell Knox. And similarly to the points you made with Knox, I like Alex Noren this week too.
That's interesting. Yeah.
He's been on a hot streak recently. I mean, 6th at the Waste Management and 5th at the Honda. Then he actually played relatively under the radar great golf last week too. He finished T26, gained strokes in pretty much every major category except for lost a half stroke putting. But his irons have been great. He's gained 5 strokes on approach in his last 2 appearances. And he's gained strokes on approach in his last 6 appearances. So I think they're both pretty good value at 70-1. Noren only played here once, finished 21st here last year. So I think this, again, is a kind of a wily veteran that can get really hot with his irons. His short game is good. Kind of need him and Knox to putt well, and I think they'll be in the mix. So,
you're kind of talking me into Noren now.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I could talk myself into a lot of plays over 70 this week because I think the value is pretty good. If you're fading the top of the board, which I am this week, I think it opens up the door for a lot of these longer shots. So Noren and Knox, dude, that's a good duo. The Swede and Scottish.
Yeah, I already have Hatton. I'm taking care of all of that. Northern Europe.
Noren looking to maybe make a Ryder Cup team. Henrik Stenson named captain. May want to have a Swede on.
Yeah, he could. Although. Yeah,
I'm assuming he's pretty far off right now, but I mean, he has played really good golf recently. He is over 40 years old, but I mean, half of the European team last year was over 40 years old, so that might be a little bit of a stretch, but they were old.
Well, I mean, whatever they did last year, they're gonna need to switch it up. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Westwood and Poulter are getting the call, so they might change it up with some other veterans.
No, I don't think so either.
All right, yeah, and then I'm. See, this is where the angle of them playing into Monday last week kind of might bite me in the ass. But I'm looking to get back into some Harold Varner action. I was a little upset I wasn't able to catch anything on him last week. Top 20 would have been nice value. And he's actually played really good golf recently. Obviously his win over on the DP World Tour, and then plays really well with the players. We're still in Florida. I think pretty good value at 75-1 on Varner, and at the very least, I'm going to play him first-round leader. But 10th in strokes gained approach over his last 36 rounds in this field. He's been really good around the green. He's been pretty consistent with his putting as well. And Harold takes care of business on the par 5s for the most part. So I do like Harold this week in some fashion. I haven't quite decided if I'm going to get there for an outright, but I may just get a little crazy with the outright card and add a bunch of longer shots, considering I have 2 plays at 30 and then flying down to 70s. So don't look at the course history. It's not great, but he's hot right now. So he'll be on the top 20. I'll say that.
Yeah, once it start to get down here, I think anyone goes. So Varner certainly is playing well this week. He played pretty well last week, so I don't hate that.
Yeah, Webb Simpson also if you're taking an answer, Webb Simpson, it's going to be a track that he obviously is probably going to be pretty good at as well. It's kind of concerning though. He didn't look great last week. I can't remember if he was on the wrong side of the draw. I actually don't think he was, and he just played poorly.
Yeah, I don't know where he's at with his injury problems, but he hasn't shown a whole lot since they were circulating. But that's kind of why you're getting him at this number. So,
right. I mean, he's over double the value of Abe.
I will actually say though too. I get him playing the players. It's a huge event. It's hard to guess how injured or not injured someone is, and he hasn't looked good, but it doesn't really make sense that a veteran guy like Webb would play through an injury at the Valspar. No disrespect to the Valspar, but this is with the Masters coming up. This is not one that he needs to fight through injury.
Right. So you would think he's feeling pretty good.
It makes me think that he's good enough to play because I don't think he'd be risking it, with the Masters right around the corner.
Yeah, that might be enough to just add him to my top 20 card no matter what. Because in theory, this course sets up very well for him. So I think I am going to add a little Webb action because this is similar to Arbortown. It's doesn't have to be long off the tee. it's a Webb golf course. So I think that's a good point. And he does have a top 10 here back in 2018. So
Okay. Yeah, I don't hate that.
Maybe he's not injured. Maybe he's just hurt. You know, a little hurt, not injured. You can play through that. You can get a top 20 through that.
Yeah. Or maybe he was injured. He's feeling good and he's just rusty.
And he played poorly at a tough course in tough conditions. That could happen. Yeah. All right. I like that. So, yeah, I think we're over 90 now. A bunch of guys. Matthias Schwab, Brent Wiesberger, Denny McCarthy, Martin Keimer are all at 90. And then we're over 120 and above on FanDuel Sportsbook. So, I mean, I could read a bunch of these names. I think it's more just fire away, Matt. Fire at will.
120 to 1. I'm debating on whether to go outright and top 20. Definitely top 20 or 30. I'm going to go back to my boy Adam Svensson.
Okay.
I like his irons. 21st in strokes gained approach. Last 24 rounds, 30th ball striking. Nice young player. He's playing really well a couple weeks ago. I was on board him. He had a first good couple of rounds at Pebble, and then he played well at another tournament after that as well. So I'm going to go back to my boy Svensson. He had the week off last week at the Players. Think he's ready to go this week. I think that he's going to be playing well. So I'll definitely be on him for top 20, possibly an outright, but there's another guy I like down here. And I'm trying to, now that Noren's on the card, I'm trying to kind of decipher between those two which one I want to take down here for an outright.
So who's the other guy?
The other guy is down at 190, our boy Doc Redmon.
Okay.
I think I've seen enough to get back on board on Doc.
Okay.
His irons have been really good lately. I think he's only lost strokes and approach once in like his last 5 tournaments. I was really impressed by him last week. I mean, he's been bad around the greens, but other than that, he looks like he's starting to get back to his old ways. I mean, he was brittle for a while, but Doc's starting to play a little bit better lately. Started seeing him pop up more and more recently, and I want to be ahead of the curve on him. I still feel like taking him 190 at an event like this that feels pretty open for a long shot is decent value, because I think another good result, and we can kind of start seeing him drift back under like 100 to 1 in some of these events. So I think I kind of want to be a little ahead on Doc.
Okay. I like that. I actually like that a lot now that you say it. So I do have a few thoughts down here. That is very intriguing though at 190. And I may add him for a top 20 because you're right. He has gotten hot with the irons. I'm still a little bit concerned, but it does seem like he's turned it around a bit. He's made 4 of his last 5 cuts. I mean, because he was playing really, really bad golf.
Yeah, like horrible.
He had a couple stretches of missing over 4 cuts in a row. So he seems to be back on track, and he looked unintimidated out there too. He was playing with JT and another big name. I forget who it was, but he's playing good. So I like that. I'm looking at Joel Damon at 160 to 1. He's only played here once, finished 30th here last year, and he's kind of had a weird little stretch here. Didn't play well in Phoenix, but made the cut. Didn't play well at the Genesis, but made the cut. And played pretty well with the Players, all things considering. Didn't finish well. He was in that Berger Hovland group where that, the Berger water ball drama. He was involved in that. They obviously played much better Monday afternoon than he did. So he was 3 under. I feel like he finished at 3 under, but regardless, I think he's at a pretty good number for a guy who does have a pretty complete game. His approach game has been pretty consistently just above average. And we know that Joel can get hot with the putter. So I do like him for a little shot in the dark at 160 to 1 on FanDuel.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I mean, he's one of your guys that you've been taking.
Yeah,
so I certainly think, I certainly think in this field, that's a pretty good number on him.
Yeah, actually, we're not far removed at all. Actually, it was just last month. He finished 6th in Pebble Beach. So
yeah, I mean, hey, once you start getting down here, and you can get a name like that, I don't hate it at all.
So that'd probably be my last outright, but I'm kind of considering. I think people are kind of dismissing him now, probably pretty fairly. But Mito at 120. All it takes is for him to get one good weekend, and then he'll be shooting back up the odds list. We're not that far removed from his number being like half of what it is right now. He's still 9th over his last 36 rounds in approach, 5th in ball striking. His putter has been pretty mediocre, 64th on strokes gained putting over his last 36 rounds. his around the green game's still not very good. So, I mean, it's similar to his Chilean cohort, Neiman, where you don't really know what you're going to get around the green. But if it's a week where he's, I mean, above average or average, his irons are so good that he should be able to put himself in the mix. But he also hasn't played here. So, not a ton really to say about Mito this week, other than I think it's a pretty good number for a guy who's clearly elite with his irons.
Yeah, I mean, the potential's certainly there. I think once you get down there, there's no shame in throwing some darts.
Yeah. So I think that's probably going to be it for me. Just a couple other names I was considering for brief moments and then kind of have pulled away. But in case people want to get a little bit of insight inside my brain, Carlos Ortiz feels like he's a pretty steep number. He's at 160.
He was another Houston Open winner, wasn't he?
Yeah.
If you want to use that.
So if you want to take that,
we just made up on the show.
Yeah,
there's something there.
There might be something there. He's been really bad. Missed his last 2 cuts. I think you could throw the players out, but he did miss a cut with the Arnold Palmer. I guess he played okay at the Genesis and Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the Arnold Palmer is also really tough. So
true. Actually, you could potentially throw out his last 2 performances, and then we're not that far removed from a second place at the Mayakoba in November. And 2 top 40s at the Genesis and Phoenix Open. And
he's
also
pretty much hot,
fields.
Is what you're saying.
If you throw those out, he's got a 70th, a missed cut, and a second, and a two mid-30s performances. So that just take that for what it's worth. He's at 100. He's at 160. And then Alonso Griffin, I think, set a pretty decent number at 120.
Yeah, I was looking at him too, actually.
He just really hasn't been. He hasn't really been good at these kind of courses. And, not really, I don't think – it is hard to say, though. He does have 3 top 10s in his last 10 appearances on tour, going back to the Shriners in October. So you could look into Alonso finish position type bet if you want to also throw out his performance of the Players last week, which he missed the cut. So those are 2 of my longer shot type thoughts. I do like your Doc Redmon thoughts. I might have to just jump on that for fear of missing out. And
yeah, appreciate that. Well, speaking of deeper plays, if you want to throw out last week at the Players, I mean, it was like everyone was on him last week as like a deep finishing position play. JT Poston, and he didn't play well last week, but going into last week, everyone was very high on him. All of a sudden, he's now down to 240 to 1 here. I don't think it's out of the question for him to finish, inside the top 30 or 20, and I think you're going to get a really good number on that. So it could be something to look at, because if you liked him last week, there's really not a whole lot of reason not to like him again this week. So something to consider.
Yeah, okay, I like that. A couple other thoughts, really deep. My guy Matthew Neesmith, he's down there 240 to 1. I might look at him as a first-round leader opportunity. It's funny, he really hasn't been very good with as good as he once was with his irons. I mean, he was popping up in my models inside the top 10 in strokes gained approach and ball striking. He's now 30th and 27th. But again, another guy that can definitely get hot with his irons. And he's only played here once and finished 21st here last year. So I may jump on board in some fashion with some Matthew Neesmith action. And Joseph Bramlett, he is top 20 in both strokes gained approach and ball striking over his last 36 rounds. Another guy that could potentially get hot if his putter cooperates at all. He's pretty poor around the green and putting, so it might be a slight concern. He also doesn't get off the tee too well, but electric with the irons. So there's that to be said about Bramlett. He's at 340, 350 to 1. So a couple of long shot bombs there if you're looking to get into that.
Any Ryder Cup captain motivation for Henrik Stenson at 280 to 1?
Maybe. I mean, if it's anything like Zach Johnson last week, maybe he'll accidentally hit a ball off the tee again.
Yeah,
but
it's not the first time he's done that.
No, it's not. It's the third.
How do you keep doing that?
Just one step further away from the ball.
I mean, and he always gets a freebie on it.
Yeah, it's in the rule book.
I get it, but it's kind of ridiculous. He does that all the time, gets a freebie, and then you got Casey playing out of divots, and it's.
Oh, man. Well, now that I'm scrolling here, it's starting to see some other things that are interesting. I haven't mentioned this guy in a little while, but Henrik Norlander is at 550 to 1.
I think you have mentioned him recently.
Another guy that can get hot with his irons. And then if you're looking at course history, Luke Donald is at like 430 to 1. So I don't know. Depending on how the guys who played at the Players last week come back this week, I think there could be some pretty nice finishing position bets made this week on some long shots. So keep an eye out for that. Other than that, just to recap our cards real quick, I have Answer, Kokrak, Noren, and Knox. And then I have Harold Varner written down and Joel Damon written down, as well as potentially adding Doc Redmon. So a little bit longer than I thought, but a bunch of guys over 70 to 1. A little sprinkle action. Top 20s with Bubba, Knox, Noren, Varner, and probably Webb Simpson. And then maybe a couple of long shot plays. I'm gonna have to narrow that down a bit. And then one and done. I think I'm gonna go with Kokrak. I think it's a good week to maybe avoid some of the top players. It's not a huge purse week, so maybe take an angle on a guy you think might be lower owned and go from there.
Okay, I like that. My outrights, I'm looking at Hatton, Abe, Knox, Noren, I'm going to jump on with you, and then either Svensson or Doc, maybe both. And then top 20, looking at Bubba Watson, Noren, Svensson, Doc, and I think I might take a shot at JT Poston down there. And I think for one and done, I am going to go with Terrell Hatton this week.
Okay. Boss, what do you got this week?
I don't really have much until I started listening to you guys. I was contemplating just doing single bullet on DJ, and either he's going to keep progressing upwards, which I think he will, or he's not, because he hasn't really played that well, to be honest. But I think I'm going to do that, and then I think I'm going to take Knox too to make that a team play, because that kind of piqued my interest. But really don't have too much of a feel for it right now. Kind of tough with, like you guys said, NCAA tournament looming. Players really dragged a lot out of us despite us not playing. And yeah, so going to be simple. I think I'm going to take Louis for one and done, but I am the absolute last person on the face of the planet you should be listening to for one and done advice. So don't take that at all.
Boss still down there with the guys who are forgetting to make picks. So.
Oh yeah, even further down there. Just nice goose egg for Morikawa. We're doing great.
All right, so well, I mean, I'm now in a very good spot with the one done. I'm thinking big things now. I'm thinking like I'm only $2 million away from the top prize. So hopefully a big week from Kokrak keeps me rolling in the right direction. But we did promise a little bit of a March Madness action here, Matt. So I think we'll just do it. I'm going to tell you who my Final Four is, who I think is going to win. And I'll let you take it from there. And then if you have any potential upset thoughts, let us know. But I got Texas Tech, Kentucky, Illinois, and Kansas. Kansas, Kentucky in the final, and Kansas winning. So kind of chalky final, but I think Illinois is a dark horse to make the Final Four. Kind of like their draw. And then Texas Tech, I think, defensively will be able to slow down Gonzaga a bit, and I just don't really like picking Gonzaga. So not a lot of insight there, just kind of went with my gut.
Yeah, no, I like that. I am on board with three of those. I have Gonzaga beating Texas Tech in the Elite Eight, but I also have Kentucky, Illinois, and Kansas. I think Kansas is a pretty easy path there to the Final Four. And I have Kentucky beating Illinois in the championship. I think Calipari is going to get number 2 this year.
I hate that.
Good team. It's a really good team they got this year. I'd be shocked if they didn't make the Final Four.
You'd be shocked.
If they don't make the Final Four, I think I would be shocked. I think they are
Wow.
the best team in that region. Yeah.
Wow, that is quite the take. You'll be shocked if they don't make the Final Four. Well,
yeah, I think Kentucky's very good this year.
I don't even think they're going to make the Elite Eight.
Oh, boss!
Wow. Who are they losing to in the Elite Eight?
Purdue.
Okay.
You would not like my bracket because Purdue is not in the Sweet 16.
It's tough. That's the wonder. That's the beauty of this time of year, baby. There's so much optimism today. Tomorrow, everything looks good. You know, you've looked it over, just like the day before a golf tournament. It all looks great until the, ball gets tipped or first tee shot's hit. You know,
that's pretty much round the horn. Some upset picks. I like Richmond over Iowa, which they're probably get blown out. But I think that Iowa riding a little high right now after their Big Ten championship. I don't really think they're necessarily that good. They obviously Big Ten's a tough conference, but I think they might have worn them out a bit. I think the Spiders might take it to them. So that's one of my bigger upsets of the first round. Got to pick some 12-5s.
Yeah, I have two bigger upsets that I've gone to the Sweet 16. Got the Jackrabbits of South Dakota State taking down Providence, and then Iowa. I think they're very good offensively. I think they can get hot for that first weekend. Those are two teams that get upset. And I like Davidson to get to the Sweet 16 down there. I think they could beat Michigan State. I think it's going to be a good game. They match up well together, both good on offense, and that's a game that's only 2 hours away from Davidson's campus. So,
So you think Davidson's going to beat Duke, huh?
I think Davidson's going to spoil Coach K's party there. Yep.
Wow, I like that.
Davidson, number 11 in the country in offensive efficiency. Watch out.
I'll be there for that, so I would love to see that happen.
Yeah, Boston's going to be cheering loud for Davidson.
There we go.
Beautiful. I mean, you're probably going to get a nice money line on that too. So keep a lookout for that. I don't think I'm worthy of posting college basketball plays, but
Yeah.
might dabble a bit this
I
week.
might just put out my bracket and see people shit on it.
Yeah, I'm 0 for 1. I'm 0 for 1 so far. I took Texas A&M. I don't even know what the whole full name was. To beat Texas Southern. So
Texas, I think.
Yeah, so they lost. So
I like Wyoming tonight.
Just get the losses out of the way early. You just got to get them out of the system before Thursday, Friday hits. Smart. That's tactical.
Putting this out there too. I think if Wyoming beats Indiana tonight, that they might beat St. Mary's. So
Yeah, I like Wyoming.
Yeah.
Boss, you got any big upset picks?
What's funny you guys asked that. I wasn't going to rain on your parade, but I have Chattanooga beating Illinois in the first round.
Oh, geez.
Oh, that's not gonna happen.
We shouldn't have asked that.
You shouldn't have, but you did. So now you're getting it. I'm on board with you in the Providence upset too, but that's partially a product of us not really thinking Providence is that good. And it also kind of scares me that everyone and their mother has identified that as like a huge first round upset. So
yeah, I have Providence in the Sweet 16.
I don't really like. What's that?
I have Providence in the Sweet 16. I think they take care of business easily.
Easily. Bold words.
Yeah. We'll see that.
I also like. I don't know how big of an upset you consider this, but I like Iowa State over LSU. LSU firing Will Wade, kind of a little bit of turmoil there. Iowa State, kind of not a terrible program, but not great. So
no, I like that too. I do have Iowa State winning. And that bottom of that Midwest bracket actually, I think, could be quite chaotic. I think there's probably 5 or 6 teams that could make a run to the Sweet 16 in that bottom tier. So we'll see what happens. But episode 91, Valspar Championship in the books. Let's stay hot and hopefully pick a winner, and then we'll see how March Madness shakes out. But yeah, we're in the books. See you next week.